Hello everyone, and welcome to Paranormal at the Boneyard. Now I hope you can hear me because behind me, right here, is Highway 403 in Ontario, which is extremely busy and extremely loud. But this is kind of an impromptu vlog today. I wasn't planning on coming here. As I said, the weather's getting colder. I'm wearing a toque now, so once the toque comes out, you know I'm getting cold. But the sun was out at the time. It was a bright sunny day, and I'm like, you know what, because it's such a nice day, and I do know that there was hauntings at this location, that what the hell, let's go for a drive, let's get down here and we'll do this. Now the reason why I know this place was haunted behind me was because I worked here. This was where I spent 6 years of my life. This used to be an auction house. Now I love the excitement of an auction house. I loved working here. Aside from photography and aside from acting, performing, this was my most favorite job ever. I would set up for the auctions, I would clerk the auctions, I would be one of those people holding the item up, and then when the person won, you would hand it over to them. And I loved it. It was my favorite job next to photography and performing. I had to quit because of physical reasons, and there were some other reasons too, but mainly because my knees just couldn't take it anymore. But I've had some surgery and feel a lot better now, so maybe I could have another job at another auction house. I would definitely like that. So, but not gonna get into that. I'm here to talk about ghosts. And you might look at this building, it's pretty innocuous, it doesn't look, all that interesting. Trust me, it was haunted. I know for a fact by at least one spirit. Because this was kind of impromptu, I just wrote some stuff down on my way here pretty fast. And what I know for sure was that it was a male presence. And you could feel it. Not only could I hear him sometimes, but you could feel the energy was male. I don't know how else to explain it except you go, yeah, this isn't a female. And then when I heard his voice a couple of times, obviously it's male, right? So the reason why I know it was male from listening to him, because he liked to talk. When he spoke, I never understood him. When he sang, I would be setting up for the auctions. I would be by myself in there just setting stuff up. I'd have the radio on. And he would sing to the songs on the radio. In particular, his favorite song that he loved singing because it was the loudest was Boulevard of Broken Dreams by Green Day. I would be in there, and all of a sudden that song would come on the radio, and I would hear this man's voice, and I'm in there completely alone. There's nobody else. The doors are closed. There was nobody else to hear, and all of a sudden I'm hearing a man very loudly singing Boulevard of Broken Dreams. So I thought that was very interesting. I sometimes get the feeling he was trying to communicate with me, but I really wasn't having it. I didn't want to communicate. I just wanted to get my job done and go home. So I think he kept trying to get my attention, and the only times I truly responded was with something moved, because things would move, things would fall that were unexplainable. And but I was always aware that he was there, and I think he was trying to get my attention, but I wasn't having it. So I don't know if I frustrated him or whatever, but yeah. Oh, and also I would see him during the auctions every once in a while. I would, there used to be a podium, and the auctioneer and the clerk would sit up there, and what the clerk does is record everything that is bought, sold, to what auction number, who's getting what, things like that, like what the item is, who's getting it, and that's what I would do, is I would sit there and I would type in everything that was sold and to whom. And it was on a podium that I was sitting on, and to my right, I would always see him. He would actually be sitting up in a rafter where we would store some stuff, and he would just sit there and he would look down, and I think he was just watching the auction, and I thought that, okay, and I would, kind of peek over and just see a form. It was just like just a human form kind of in a mist that's kind of gray, and he would just be sitting there. And I'm like, well, he's not bothering anybody, so he wasn't there all the time, but he was there sometimes. So I thought that was kind of interesting too. And there was one time, yeah, this one I did not like. I was a runner, so I was the one who was setting stuff up for to hold up and say, this is the item we're selling, put your bids in and all this kind of stuff. And so it's just holding the item so you know what's coming up and all this kind of stuff. And so I was at a table with my boss, and we were organizing things, and then all of a sudden, and I thought it was my boss, and I thought this was so inappropriate, someone came up behind me, put his hands on my hips to go around me. I am this is my private personal bubble person. And I liked my boss. He was, we got along fine and everything, but this I thought was just a little too much. You're in my private bubble. And I turned around to yell at him and be like, dude, get your hands off my hips. And he wasn't there. He was like, on the other side on a different table, way over there. So there was nobody there. So I'm like going, okay. And I just continued on with the auction like nothing happened. But it freaked me out. I don't like being touched. And my hips, that to me is kind of like a very personal area. So I was like, you're really in my private bubble and I don't like that. So that never happened again. But I didn't like it when it happened the first time. So I think that's pretty much, and then you have the blast of air. I've never been 100% sure if the blast of air is a spirit or if it's just cold air that goes by. I honestly don't know. But you'd be in there, the doors are closed, the heat is on, and then all of a sudden I'm working and it's just like an air conditioner walks by that's turned on and you're just like, what? Where'd this cold air come from? So that's a possibility that he was just walking by at the time. But you never know. So what I wanted to say about this is that this place had a ghost in it, but he wasn't there the whole time, I don't think. And I tried to tell this to my boss. I told him, I said, yeah, there's a ghost in here, right? And he's like, that's impossible. This building's brand new. So I started working here in 2006. I started setting up for auctions probably around 2009, 2010 maybe. He's like, that's impossible. How could it possibly be haunted? This place is brand new. And I'm like, yeah, the building might be new, but the land isn't new. The land has been here for a very long time. So I just gotta switch hands because my hand's getting cold. Oh, it's just like the land's been here for a very, very long time. So I'm just like, it could be something that's attached to the land. It could be something that's attached to one of us. For all I know, something was following my boss around. I don't know. You never know. And then I started thinking about it actually just recently because I was just thinking, okay, it's the land. It's attached to the land. But the more I thought about it, I started thinking, you know what? The items that we sold, it could have been attached to an item. Because what this auction house used to be was misguided freight. And what misguided freight was, it was something that was being sent through the post. And if it wasn't able to get delivered to its location and it wasn't able to be returned to the person who was sending it off, it would stay at the post office for 6 months, and then it then became the property of the post office, and they used this auction house to sell it. And I thought maybe it wasn't the land, maybe it was something that we were selling. Maybe something was attached to something that we were selling, because we sold brand new items, but we also sold used items. So who knows, maybe it was attached to something, an antique that we sold. You never know. I have no idea. I know that there was some really, really, really old things that we sold that were definitely antiques, that were beautiful, anything from jewelry to furniture. One time we sold a car, an old car. So, it could have been anything. We also had lost luggage. So maybe there was something attached in the luggage. You never know. You never, ever know. But what I wanted to do was just make a point that just because a building is brand new doesn't mean that the place isn't haunted. Everything's haunted. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Everything has spiritual energy to it. Whether it's the spiritual energy of a ghost, whether it's the spiritual energy of, plant life. I mean, there's lots of trees here. So, when you think of hauntings, you think of like old plantations in the southern states or old castles in Europe, things like that. You don't think of a brand new building in Mississauga, Ontario, but that's what it is. I don't know if the ghost is still here. I don't know if it went with whatever it was attached to. I don't know if it's, attached to the land and it's just sort of wandering around. I don't know. It's just something I find really interesting. I didn't even think of it being attached to an object until probably just a couple days ago. But yeah, I just wanted to say that they're everywhere at any time. It doesn't matter the age of the structure. That's just the way it is. And that's something I thought was really interesting and I thought I'd want to share with you. But like I said, it's winter time now. I'm wearing the toque, and even with the sun out, I'm getting cold. So I will probably attach this one to something else that I'll talk about at another date. And I hope you all have a great day, and I will be back soon. So we've come from Mississauga, and we are back in Hamilton. And I've come here for a specific reason. I just parked my car, so if you look right above me up here, that is the Burlington Skyway Bridge. Apparently, I've heard a couple stories here and there about this place, but we're not going to do it right here. I'm actually going to walk further up this trail, and we're going to go onto a nice, lovely pier, and we'll talk from there. So here we go. Skyway Bridge, and lots of traffic. All right, I just wanted to originally start to show you the view of this place behind me on the other side of the street. You've got Lake Ontario. This is Burlington Bay. Burlington Bay and Hamilton, Ontario. And I was just about to start, and then somebody was on the lift bridge, because there's the Skyway over here, and then right on below it is a lift bridge for, obviously, you know, boat traffic and stuff. And I think somebody was driving on it that wasn't supposed to be, and there's a story that goes with that I'm going to share with you in some history. Yeah, not good. So, oh, and there's a big plane going by. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Well, you can see a dot. But we're going to go onto the pier that's behind me over here, and we're going to talk there. But I just wanted to show you the view behind me. And it's really, really cold. And the lift bridge is up, so maybe we'll be able to get over and see a ship going by. Sometimes it takes forever. I just made it over the lift bridge. So it's good, because I've been here where I've been waiting over an hour sometimes for the ships to go through, and you don't want to do that. Usually I just am going around. I just go, okay, turn around, go back the other way, and we'll go around somehow. But yeah, so I'm just walking on the trail. We're going to get to the pier over here, if you can see it behind me. And maybe we'll catch a ship. Okay, so we are on the pier. I was going to walk down to the lighthouse, but they seem to be doing some work along here. They do have signs that say do not enter, and even though there's a whole bunch of people entering, I don't want to do that while I'm filming this, so I'm just going to let the workers do their work. And right here above me, that is the Skyway Bridge, and above that up here, this is the lift bridge, which is presently lifted. And I don't know if I can turn it around and show you and pick up the tripod here. Here we go down. Yep, that's the ship that's coming. So it's been a while, and I don't have a lot of stuff to talk about, but maybe I'll be here long enough and we can see it go by as I'm talking. So the Skyway Bridge. I didn't know a lot of history, so as always, I've got cheat sheets with me. It was starting in construction. It started about 1956. It was completed in 1957 and officially opened on October the 30th, 1958. And I only knew, well, there's two, like they expanded it in, I think, the 80s. And I do remember the expansion being made, but I don't remember, obviously, in the 50s. I wasn't alive in the 50s. I don't remember the one with the big arch. That I obviously don't remember being made, because I wasn't around in 1957. So, but they say over 50,000 vehicles cross over this thing every single day. Now, I haven't heard of any official stories, like Dundurn Castle, there are like official stories of it being haunted, but I haven't heard any official stories of this area being haunted. But because of the canal, because of the activity of the people here, and because there have been accidents and other things that have happened here, I think there has to be something. You know, like I said, every place is haunted, and so there's got to be energy here. I have felt energy. You never feel alone, but that also could be because I'm in Hamilton and there's always people here. So I could be either sensing somebody who's here that I can't see, or I could just be sensing the energy of living people who are here, the residual energy of living people. You never know. Or I could be sensing something of someone who passed in this area. Like I said, every place is haunted, every place has got energy, and I'm just watching this ship. It's getting closer and closer, so we're definitely going to see it go fast. But I've walked along this pier many times, and there's always people on here. In the summertime, you got boating, you got fishing, you go for warm, quiet walks at night. Like, it's actually very quiet, even with the bridge here. I mean, you can obviously hear traffic, but it's obviously not as much. So it's very quiet. It's actually a very beautiful place to come at night. I love coming here at night on this pier. You walk down, and in the wintertime, because of the water that comes off the the lake, it's all ice. So my brother, who is a winter lover, will just go sliding along down here. He has a great time. It's almost like skating, but with shoes on or boots on. So he has a great time. And no matter what time of year, as the ship's going by, you can see all the birds leaving. There's always birds on the water, and they're usually pretty noisy. So this is actually a really pretty spot to be. And the ship is going by right now. It's actually right here. It's going to be exciting. Not for the people who are waiting on the bridge, but it's cool to watch it go by. Where am I here? So this lift bridge, which is right here, where the ship is going to be going through, there used to be actually a swing bridge, which I did not know about. Until I saw photographs of it, I had no idea that a swing bridge even existed. There it goes. It would be like there's the bridge, and then a ship would want to go by, and it would turn. I've never seen that before. I thought that was the coolest thing when I saw pictures of it. Unfortunately, there were accidents, so it didn't last. And I can't remember the year it was, but it was replaced in a lift bridge. I believe in the 50s it was replaced. Now, there have been many, many accidents which could attribute to residual haunting energy along here. In 1948, we'll just go through them in the order in which I was able to find them online. In 1948, there was two boys, an 18-year-old man and a 19-year-old man, and they were driving along the lift bridge here. And this is what I said when I said I think somebody was on the bridge too long and they were going to lift it. I think the problem was, and it stems from something like this. This is a word of advice. When you see the lights that say stop, stop. An 18-year-old man, he was killed when him and his friend, who was the driver, they didn't notice that the lift bridge, when it was coming down, it got stuck halfway and it stopped moving. And they just kept driving. I guess in 1948, I'm guessing maybe there wasn't traffic lights saying to stop. Now they've got traffic lights and the cross, beams that tell you not to go and all that kind of stuff. But right into the water. It was a Volkswagen, and it went just off the pier here and just down into the water. And one boy survived. He was able to open the door and get out before the car went under the water. The other boy unfortunately drowned, and he was the passenger. Now, I know that there's also some people who claim that this building, or during the building of this, some people were beginning to wonder if this thing was cursed, because there were crazy accidents, there were some deaths and things like that. I don't think so. I just think it's accidents of people being either careless or just having a misjudgment in certain things. But in September 1957, an apprentice fell 95 feet to his death when he misstepped on some beams. I don't know if you've ever seen like photographs or old videos of people who are building those two skyscrapers and they're walking along the beams like it's nothing. And I guess in the 50s they didn't have things like safety equipment to hold on to things. And he took a misstep and went down. So, and you can see the bridge coming down now. That's pretty cool. There were two major crane mishaps. There was no death, but they were pretty bad. It was a mess on cars and stuff. One crane fell on one car, and another crane fell on many cars. There were some injuries, but nobody died on those things, thankfully. In 1963, in June 1963, a 15-year-old boy fell into the canal and he drowned. They weren't able to get him in time. That actually made the news because apparently when people went to go get the help that was needed, I don't think it was the Coast Guard, but whatever they have here for that, to rescue people who fall into the water, they didn't come in time, and the boy was, drowned, and a lot of people made a big deal about that they didn't come in time and they should have been right here in the area right away. In May 1984, there was a suicide of somebody jumping from the Skyway Bridge down. Now, thankfully, I have not seen a suicide from here, but there was one time. I used to live over in this area over here in Hamilton, and I was driving with my husband, who was my husband at the time, and he had a CB. And we couldn't figure out why the Skyway Bridge was blocked. There was no traffic allowed on it at all. So everybody had to come down and go over the lift bridge and stuff. And obviously they weren't allowing ships and stuff to go by so that people could, but the traffic was insane. And I looked up, and right along the edge, on the outside of the bridge, was a human being standing there holding on just with one hand, and he was, I'm assuming it was male. I honestly don't know. I couldn't see from being on the ground looking that high up. I just knew it was a person, but I'm pretty sure it was male. And he was holding on with one hand, and he was threatening to jump, and there was people around trying to talk him back in without approaching him and having him go, "That's it, I'm done," and take off and jump off. And it was horrible. I thought that was just absolutely horrible. And you know, what level of sadness they have to get to, that level of, this is what it's going to be, I'm going to jump off the Skyway Bridge. What disgusted me was the people on the CB that I could hear talking to other people. They were just like, just push him off, get him out of their way so we can get driving. I'm like, how heartless do you have to be? Like, that's awful. This is a person who's obviously troubled, who has, you know, and all you want to do is just let them go so you can go to work on time. Maybe next time leave earlier, jerk. So that's my little rant for the day on that one. But but he did not jump, thankfully. They did catch him in time. They talked him back over onto the other side of the bridge, and hopefully he was taken care of accordingly. And he's okay now, hopefully. So it does happen, sadly, and in 1984 that did happen. In July 1987, this story I thought was really strange. I didn't know a sheet metal could do this, actually. I think they were working on the expansion, or they were working on the middle of it or something in 1987, and a steel worker who was working on the center span of the old bridge was carrying a piece of sheet metal, and a gust of wind picked him up and blew him off the catwalk. Now the thing was, he landed in the canal, and he didn't die. He didn't die from the fall. He actually got down into the water. He came back up. He managed to pull himself up out of the water, call for help, but because of his safety boots, it pulled him back down under, and nobody could get to him in time, and unfortunately he drowned. Now what they say about this guy is that he was not wearing, he had a safety belt, but it wasn't attached to the bridge. So they said it was because he was, you know, transferring from one area to the next, and that's why he undid it. I don't know, it just seems strange to me, but hey, always attach your safety belt. There's a reason for it, and that's the reason. So that's that there. Now there's also daredevils. Now this I just thought was interesting. I'm just gonna put this disclaimer out. Do not do these things. I found a couple daredevil stories. If you get caught, you will get charged, and you will go and probably get fined, maybe even serve some jail time. This is a big no-no. Do not do these things. In 1982, a 16-year-old boy, he escaped death because he had a $200 dare to dive off the Skyway Bridge into the canal. And the thing with that one is that he wasn't even charged. He jumped off, he swam to shore, got him his friend's car, and the cops pulled him over, and the only thing that they were charged for is I think one of the driver had some alcohol in the car or something, and they were underage. I don't know, but he wasn't even charged. But they say specifically, do not do this. That's a big no-no. Don't do it. So I hope you got his $200 at least. Now in 2016, now I've seen this video. I don't even think it's up on YouTube anymore, but I did get a chance to see it, and it made me very, very queasy. Now because the lift bridge is down, I don't know if you can still see the Skyway Bridge and how far that is up. A 21-year-old shot a video of himself walking along the top of the arch on the Skyway Bridge, and he posted it on YouTube. And I'm not afraid of heights, but he had this thing, and he's walking along the beams. It was just, whew. He was charged. When he got down, they chased him down, and he was arrested, and he was fined. And basically they say, if you do this, you are going to get in trouble. You are breaking the law. Do not do that. I just found those interesting. Now we'll get to the hauntings, which is, you know, haunted at the boneyard. That's what or paranormal at the boneyard. So let's get to that, because I'm actually getting cold now. So I've never experienced the hauntings, you know, like I've never seen anything here or anything like that, but I have heard of people saying that they have heard voices. I have talked to people who have said they've seen things or felt the energy or something. And like I said, when you're here, you never feel alone. You always feel like there's somebody else here. And like I said, that could just be residual energy of anything, because people emit tons and tons of energy. So I think that's probably, for me, that's the main thing. Now, I actually found a website and I found photographic evidence. I don't even think this is because I'm a photographer. I think it's simply common sense that what I saw in these photos is not paranormal. I saw they took pictures and they're like, look, there's an orb here, look, there's an orb here, look, there's an orb here. And I'm looking at it going, these are water droplets. Just because it's not, raining, just because it's not, the wind's not blowing and, the water's not flying up, doesn't mean there's not water droplets in the air. I'm 100% certain that what I was seeing was water droplets being reflected off the flash of the camera that took these pictures. And then they had all these other ones. They said it was ectoplasm and it was mist and stuff. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, again, you're on the water. If it's like a cool day and, in warm water, the mist is going to come off the water. So I'm not saying this person was lying. I believe that this person truly believed that they took pictures that were paranormal. I just say straight out that they weren't paranormal. And I think you always have to have a logical mind as well as an open mind. I think some people who have that logical kind of mind are always just like, oh, you paranormal people are idiots. And then you get the paranormal people who are so just, into it that they just look at those people and say, well, you have such a closed mind. You always have to have an open mind, but you always have to figure out a reasonable explanation first. And I'm looking at those photos and trust me, they're not paranormal. I believe that they believe what they saw, but what I saw was simply mist from the water and water droplets in the air. So just take it with a grain of salt and go from there. That's pretty much it. I just wanted to add something short to the addition of the
I don't know if it was
the noise of the traffic or the construction or what it was, but I got a little flustered there at the end there at the bridge. So I just thought I'd close off here as I'm going for my walk. I got my camera around my neck. I'm going to see if I can take some pictures. Just going for a walk along the trail here. Despite the little fluster at the end there, I hope you enjoyed today's vlog on Mississauga and here in Hamilton. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. And remember, just because you can't sense it with your 5 senses doesn't mean it's not really happening. And I'll see you next time. Be sure to join the Boneyard at #TheBoneyard at Facebook and watch many, many wonderful artists with TJ. Have a great day.